What is up, everybody? This is Lyle, No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. I am coming at you from the new drop yard in Denver, Colorado. You know what? I'm going to tell you, it's within, you can see the other drop yard from here, so it's pretty close to that. But this is just a little bit easier to get into, get out of. Not that the other one was harder. All concrete. It would actually be a better yard if there was some facilities here, but it serves its purpose, especially for somebody that lives in Denver. Had a chance to run home yesterday for a few hours, walk in the house, and my wife's like, "What happened to your head?" And I didn't really know what she was talking about until I started cutting my hair yesterday, and I looked at it, and I got this little scar on my head. And what happened was I think I was at a Flying J, took a shower, bent over to wash my hair that I had at the time out, and I hit my head on the little knob or whatever, and I didn't know that I'd actually did this to it. So, Andrew, if you happen to be watching this, I had no idea what you were talking about yesterday. So, it was nice having a chance to go home for a quick minute. You know, go home, kiss the wife, pet the dogs. I put that in my logs, actually. Anyway, what I want to talk about in this video, this is kind of serious. I got a message. And listen, if anybody wants to contact me, in the description below, you know, I got my email address, phone number. If you want to contact me by phone or something, just send a text first. It's a lot easier than just sending an email if you want to actually talk. So just send that. Had a lot of great conversations through that, so that's good. So anyway, I get a message from Driver Prime. She's been there longer than me. And I don't want to give too much information out. I don't want to, like, put her on blast. But I get a message, and basically she kind of sent some correspondence between her and a fleet manager, because in a previous video, it kind of spoke about, you know, how some fleet managers can seem to be a little disrespectful at times. So she sent me that, some of that correspondence, and then she had spoke about one of her students that she said she was embarrassed to talk to because her revenue was so low, and she's doing everything right. She's picking up early, delivering early, things like that. And kind of spoke on that a little bit. And she asked me if I would do a video on what to do if you feel that you're getting starved out by your fleet manager. Now, her in particular, she's not having any issues. She's talking about this former student of hers, and the thing that stood out to me was she said that she thought that it was because this student was black. Now, I'm the last person to kind of go to that, although I do know that it exists, and it could be possibly even a black fleet manager, you know, doing it to a white I mean, I'm just the last person that's going to go that route. But she said it, so she actually sent this through Messenger. So I said, you know, let me see who this person is, because, you know, I just want to know who she is, since she made that comment based on this person being black. So I go through the Facebook profile, and this particular person, judging by their Facebook profile, would not be somebody that you know, you would normally see that statement come from, whether it be racial, political affiliation, even where she lives in the country. I mean, she's not the person that I would think would say that unless she firmly believed it. So that is kind of what it is. I really can't speak too much on that, but what to do if you feel like you're getting starved out. Now, the revenue that this person was telling me that her former student was making was so low that I believe if I was a fleet manager, that there's a certain level to where it's obvious that there are issues. And if that truck is producing that revenue, then I need to get involved as a fleet manager and figure out what the situation is. It shouldn't be a driver coming to me and saying, listen, my numbers are this. And we're talking about extremely low numbers. We're not talking about any low numbers that anybody else is talking about on Facebook, right, or on YouTube right now. We're talking about like literally, well, we're talking about the lowest numbers that I've seen for somebody that apparently does everything right. So, as a fleet manager, that should be proactive. But I'm not a fleet manager, so I'm not going to take that route. What do you do as a driver? So a while back in a meeting, this was discussed, and Steve Wucky, anybody that works at Prime knows him, says that don't be a victim, advocate for yourself. You know, all this kind of stuff like that. And that's exactly what I would do. So the first thing I would do, if I felt like I was being starved out, is I would look within. Do I have any holes? Am I not running my clock right? Am I late? You know, any of those type of things, I would look inward first. Once I look at that and feel that I don't have any holes, and that just because you look inward doesn't mean that, you know, you think you're doing everything right, doesn't mean that you're doing everything right. So then I would go to my fleet manager and I would say, here's kind of what my situation is. I think that these earnings are lower than what I've been hearing people get, lower than what I can handle. What do you think there are some things, what do you think I can do to change things? So I wouldn't attack the fleet manager right off the bat. Now, the first thing they might say is, you know what, you need to take an ACE 2 class, some shit like that. First thing I'm gonna say, don't do that shit. If that's the first, I mean, you may have to do that, but taking an ACE 2 class when you're already not surviving is putting you even in a worse situation, being off the road for a while. That's my opinion. So I would say, you know what, definitely something I should do, but what can I do now before this? And they have all the metrics, all this kind of stuff. If it doesn't get handled at that point, then I would actually have a phone conversation. If that wasn't a phone conversation, I would have a phone conversation, talk about it. And sometimes even that phone conversation can spark things. You know, one of the things they say about big companies is, you know, you're just a truck number. And that is true, I believe, if you make yourself a truck number. Making yourself a truck number means you're that invisible truck out there. You don't do bad. You know, you might do good, but doing good is just doing your job. But you're not, you know, you're just kind of one of those trucks. One thing I'm going to suggest is go beyond and be, you know, just, I've said it a number of times. Take this from transactional to personal. When you call up, your voice should be like your fleet manager shouldn't have to look up your truck. Maybe he has to look up your truck, you know, but it might be, hey, Lyle, you know, then may ask for the truck number or something like that. But they should, you know, that's the optimum. You know, have that conversation. If things don't work out from there, ask to set up a meeting with the fleet manager and who's above him. And I don't really know who that person is, but I would keep working my way all the way up, because the majority of people that work at Prime knows that it's a good company. And if you want to work at Prime, now sometimes you get beyond that point where, you know what, you don't want to work there, whatever, but if you want to work there, fight to work there. You know, I'm not the type of person that's going to be trying to walk into Rob Lowe's office or anything like that. I mean, I think the problem should be handled before that. But if it took for me to walk it that far up, then I would go that far up. One thing they're always going to ask you, and this is something I wouldn't necessarily do, is they're going to say, you know, if you say, you know what, I know so-and-so over here and they're doing this much a week, or I know so-and-so over there and they're doing that much a week. They're going to say, what's their truck number? I'm not going to go that far. There's a bunch of kind of double talk that they might do. And like I said, it could be a fleet management problem. It could be a you problem. It could be, a number of different things, but definitely don't just be that person that quits over it. If you actually want to be, if you actually want to stay in trucking and you actually want to be with Prime, don't quit over something like that. I really don't have a whole lot of advice in this that I wouldn't give anybody in any industry, and that is to advocate for yourself. And there's a number, and part of this I said is about not being that number. And that doesn't mean you need to call your fleet manager all the time. But, if I'm in the terminal, I didn't do it last time because if you watch one of my last videos, I was a little bit down, whatever. But, every time I'm in the terminal, I go in and talk to my logs advisor, which I did do last time. Payroll, fleet manager, every single time I'm in the terminal. I find subtle ways to let my fleet manager know what I like, what I don't like. I mean, that's a totally different subject. But we're just talking about if you feel like you're getting starved out. First of all, I'm not gonna, the only way that you're a victim is to be a victim. And if that means I've gone through all these avenues and things still aren't working, then I gotta go. And as hard as I hate, as much as I hate to say it, it may come to that. But there's never going to be a point where, I may get starved, but I'm not going to get starved out. I'll leave well before it comes to that. So, if I went to college, they might say, if you're going to do something like this, wrap it up with certain bullet points or something like that. First of all, look inward. Second of all, go to your fleet manager, humbly ask them what you can do to make things better, and then talk to them about some of the questions that you may have. Because if they've sent you some stuff that you questioned or whatever, why did you do this? Or, whatever, just go through that. If things don't work out with your fleet manager, escalate it up to that fleet manager's manager, have that conversation. You may end up having to do ACE 2 in there. Like I said, I don't necessarily think that it's the best thing to do if you're already having problems with your finances. So I would mention that is the reason that you may not want to jump on it right away. Now, if you've been at Prime for a while, maybe you should have done it either way. I think that's almost a class that there should be two components to ACE 2. One should be, and I know I'm going off topic, one should be just to kind of break down everything in general, and then the second one should be broke down, because then they want to go over your particular truck and go over things like that. There should be one before you even head out on a lease. So anyway, give them a story. Take it up to them. If they can't do it, then, and I'm saying, see, I'm kind of contradicting myself, but I'm saying it's best to do this stuff at the terminal. So if you happen to slide through whatever terminal it is that your fleet manager has, have that conversation. If you have time on the load, whatever, take ACE 2 class there. I don't know, but escalate it up as far as you have to. Now, this particular person ended up quitting, and her trainer that sent me that information didn't know that this person had quit until I said, you know what, if you think it would help, pass my phone number on to your student. And then she found out that that student had quit. So I hate to see that, especially with those numbers that she was talking about. There is no reason for that. We're not talking about, $1,000 a week, or you know, anything like that. We're talking about less than that. So I don't see it. Maybe there was a racial component to it. Who knows? Like I said, I'm the last person to look at that, but the person that sent me that text is probably further behind me in line as to somebody that would use that as an excuse or anything. So I don't know, but that's it for the day. I'm just sitting out here at the Denver yard. Could have stayed home, but it was just going to take too much since I don't have my car here, this new yard. Plus, I like to get my head in the game. So we're delivering this later on tonight, so I got a little bit of time to relax and chill. I do appreciate you guys stopping by No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. Remember, email, phone numbers in the description below. Always here to help in any way that I can. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.